Is it bad that I'm starting to sweat?
Because we're also attractive?
I don't know what's wrong with me.
That is true. I do get nervous around you guys.
Me too.
Tuck's in the hacker den, bro. Just hacking.
I'm just like curling my hair, dude. It's like, I don't know.
I mean, whatever you guys think, it's whatever.
I'll do whatever you guys want.
All wings report in. HouseDog, standing by.
Mother Goose, standing by.
Lowtech Tuck standing by.
Lock S foils in attack position. Animal Squadron ready for battle.
Well, hello there, and welcome back to the Animal Squadron podcast. I'm your host, HouseDog, and with me, as always, my hairiest host, one of my very good friends, Mother Goose.
I knew it would swing back to me eventually. Hello, everybody.
And my best friend in the whole entire world for 26 years. You know, he's always been there for me, and we're glad to have him back on the show again. It's the Suited Bird, otherwise known as Josh.
Hey, how's it going? How's it going? My best
same
friend
team.
26 years, even though I'm
Same
only 22.
Wow.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Wow.
We've been friends for
That's
so long.
diabolical.
I mean, it was
Dude,
great. You know, shut up, Tucker. You know, it was great growing up together, Josh. We've shared so much, you know, going to school together, you know, being young men together, going through those, you know, really formative years.
We really, developed together. We went through puberty. We talked to each other. I remember, when you first started talking to girls, we talked to each other about it. It was crazy. Honestly, I don't think I would be the same person I am if I didn't meet you 26 years ago. As a 22-year-old.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Tuck's here too, so welcome back, Tuck.
Oh, yeah. Hey, Tuck.
What
Hey,
up,
Tuck.
everybody?
I knew you were here.
How's it going?
I'm
How's
glad
everybody
you're
doing?
here, buddy.
Yeah, no, I'm glad to be here too. It's all good.
You see, I had to swing the pendulum back.
Yeah, that's true. Except Tuck's on your team today, and I think you just lost an ally.
Everybody thought it was going to swing back to Elijah with the way I opened, but we've got Josh here now, so I figured he should be involved in this as well.
Never let him know your next move. Never let him know your next move.
That's why anytime at a stop sign, I use the opposite blinker for whichever way I'm turning.
Yeah, that's not gonna have any
Agent of
disastrous
chaos.
consequences at all. Josh, you've told us in previous episodes that you've been on kind of your Star Wars journey, but have you been watching or playing or reading any Star Wars content lately?
Yes. So I rewatched with my wife. We rewatched The Mandalorian. We got up to season 3 because I don't know why, but even when I was watching it by myself when it was first coming out, something about season 3 I get stuck on. And I don't know why. I just can't get through it. But season 1 and 2, that show's fantastic. Now, I don't know what it is through season 3. Was it on now 4 or 5?
Just 3.
Is it just 3?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they're coming out with
I
a
really
movie.
should get through that.
Yeah.
Because season 1 and 2 is fantastic, but something about season 3, man, I can't get through. I don't know why.
Yeah, there definitely was a shift in tone, and while I still really enjoy season 3, I think I don't think it's quite as good.
Yeah. I've also, thank you to Tuck, read my first book since 8th grade. I read Death Troopers.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
That was a great book. I got through that in under 2 weeks.
Nice.
And
Nice.
Fantastic. And then I'm also very excited, cautiously excited, to play Star Wars Outlaws here in about a week.
Yeah.
It's releasing.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at right now. That's where I'm at.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. It's going to be...
So, Josh, if you're reading old EU books, I would recommend the old EU Maul books.
Okay.
There's Maul Lockdown, which is where Palpatine it's during Maul's training period, he sends Maul to like this prison. I can't remember if it's like a planet or a ship, but it's kind of like Maul mixed with Gladiator.
Oh.
It's pretty sick.
That does sound pretty cool.
It's pretty sick. There's that one, and then there is Maul Shadow Hunter, which I don't think I've read that one, and if I have, I forgot about it. But Lockdown, one of the best books I could recommend if you really like old EU stuff. It's right over there.
I was about to say, are you looking at your collection right now?
Yeah,
Is that where you're
yeah,
gandering at over there?
I've got my shelf over there. I've got many leather-bound books, and my office smells of rich mahogany.
Oh, yes, indubitably.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, so if you can't tell, we're on video right now. It's our first ever video podcast that we've done, and it's for the 100th episode.
Yeah.
No.
And
I will say, I don't think anyone would know if you didn't say anything, Mac.
I know.
That's a very well thought out thing to say.
Maybe they're only listening to audio because they think we're just an audio podcast.
You're an audio podcast. Be nice.
Fine.
So for the past 100 episodes, we have been arguing over the sentience of droids. So we thought, what better way to celebrate 100 than to really dive deep on this subject and maybe convince the other side, maybe just have a funny argument that you guys can enjoy. I don't know, but I'm so ready.
I just like how Elijah really looks like, what's that guy that always wears the hockey jerseys and the shorts? The big comic book guy, Jay and Silent Bob. What's that guy's name?
I was about to say the suited bird.
Who's that guy?
No, it's Kevin Is it Kevin Smith? Elijah kind of looks like Kevin Smith today.
I thought you were about to say Kevin Spacey. I'm like, that's wild.
No, actually, I'm getting, like, especially with the hat, Josh, correct me if I'm wrong, being the fellow hockey fan here, but doesn't he look a little bit like Zibanejad?
Exactly like Wayne Gretzky. Good
from the Rangers, a little bit.
I can see Zibanejad a little bit.
Yeah,
I know who that is for sure.
He's a good hockey player.
Hell yeah,
you can be happy about it.
Hell yeah.
Sports.
I'll take it.
Do you know who Moist Critical is?
Yeah.
He looks exactly like Moist Critical.
Oh no. Am I entering my Moist Critical era?
Just put on a white t-shirt and you'll be set.
I mean,
it's a good look, dude.
It is.
I like it.
I actually do really like it.
Thank you. Okay, so we should discuss sides. I feel like it's probably pretty obvious at this point, but Josh and I are pro droid sentience. Tuck and Mac are anti-droid sentience.
And always will be.
I think as we really get into this, we'll give you guys the floor first.
No. I think we should. No, I think you guys should go first.
Yeah.
You're just wanting us to go first because you guys don't have an argument, so all you gotta do is defend.
Yeah. All right, you know what? No, I've got a great Star Wars way to settle this.
I've got an opening argument.
Hold on.
There we go.
I've got a great Star Wars way to settle this. Give me 2 seconds.
Okay.
He's gonna pull out a chance cube. He's gonna do it.
Oh my god.
It's gonna be beautiful.
You'll see here. I have a little pouch.
I'm just hoping that he goes, blue the boy, red his mother.
I don't have my headset on, so
he's really struggling to open this.
But shout out to my brother. He bought me these chance cubes for my birthday.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go.
All right. So we've got a chance cube here, 2 sides.
What do the sides
Blue
represent?
The boy, red his mother.
I know this guy. I know him.
All right. So, Chuck, what color should we be?
I think we should be red his mother.
All right. I don't know who that was, but
I don't know either. I was just trying. That was my best Watto.
I thought it was a
Does
good
everybody trust me to be honest?
No.
No, but go ahead. You've got the dice.
All right.
I don't think I have an option here.
I mean, you can't see it anyways, so. I mean, I could
Credits
also
will do
record this on my phone and then send the clip to Elijah if I knew how to do that.
I think we.
Wait, can I just videotape it and then send it to you like in text?
I trust you enough. I trust you enough.
You can if you want
All
to.
right.
I can put it on the screen so the audience can see.
He just wanted an excuse to play on his phone.
All right, here we go.
All my notes are on my phone, so I will be looking at it a lot.
Oh, sure they are. Sure, yeah.
All right, here we
They
go.
are.
We're red.
I can't see that.
nothing.
That's just the white screen.
Pure white screen.
All right. Tuck, we're red, they're blue.
All right.
Oh, Tuck and I won.
We're deferring.
Rolling till it.
Are we deferring kickoff or do we want the ball?
No, we want to defer. We want to get them in the second half.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
All right. So for context, we talked about this a little bit before we started recording. Josh and I stayed up really late working on our arguments.
I was up till 4:30 in the morning, and I woke up at 9:30.
Hell
Is
yeah.
that because they're strong arguments, or is that because you need that much justification for them because they're weak?
I think,
I'll let you decide that.
at least for mine, I feel like I have a pretty solid argument.
Elijah, I think I'm going to take the honors of going first because I feel like yours is going to have more concrete evidence, and I feel like mine will have a nice foundation for you to build off of.
Yeah, sounds
if
good.
that's okay with you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we'll do this classic debate style, where you guys will present your side of the story. We'll let you present everything, and then we'll do ours.
Okay.
Everybody
Sounds
cool with
good.
that?
Yeah, sounds good.
Josh, can you make your PowerPoint be behind you?
I'm going to just share my screen.
Bring that
Okay.
bad boy up.
Do
It'd be cool if it was behind you. I feel like that's possible.
Probably, but also
It
his head would
probably
be in
is.
the way of his
Yeah.
presentation.
No, that's easy. We just put your body in a green screen morph suit.
Are you gonna drive up here to make that happen?
Are we
Yeah,
supposed
everybody
to
just
stay
hold on for a
recording
minute.
while you do that?
Yeah.
It might be a minute. It might be a minute.
Just a casual 4 hours or whatever.
All right.
Oh, dude! Wow, this is professional.
Hell
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
Hell yeah.
Droids have wings.
I like how you've also taken. Did you take this picture from a comic book?
I got it off of Google Images.
Oh,
But yes, it is from a comic book.
that someone obviously just opened their comic book and then took a photo of it.
Yes.
All right.
All right, you bad boys ready? You ready for some art?
Yeah, get after it.
Take a sip of the Gatorade beforehand.
Hell
Now,
yeah.
not only do you see this beauty, but it also has
Let's go.
Animations.
Let's go.
Dude.
and you must accept this. Remember that. So droids have feelings. Droids have feelings. What is sentience? I thought it was very important that I start off with like a definition. Now, as a little context, this background, audio listeners, there's a pickle there. I looked
yeah.
up sentience on the background search, and this came up. I'm like, well, I guess that's
Mad
just what I'm
respect.
using.
Mad respect.
So, Wikipedia defines it as sentience is the ability to experience feelings and sensations. It may not necessarily imply higher cognitive functions such as awareness, reasoning, or complex thought process.
Well,
I'm sorry,
I
wait,
do
wait,
have
wait,
one.
wait.
I do have one question.
I have a question as well.
Where did Wikipedia get that?
Hey, wait.
From
I've got.
Yes?
I have a bunch of definitions written down.
Elijah, would you like to share your definitions?
Yeah. So
Because if it's anything other than the dictionary, I'm not taking it.
I
Yeah,
have
hold on.
two
So,
dictionaries on here,
Josh,
baby.
I just want to. No, I think Josh should present his presentation and then Elijah, because I'd like to make comments on both.
Okay.
And I can only take notes for one person at one time.
Okay,
So
that's
Josh,
fine.
you just cited Wikipedia as your official source. Yes.
Yes, 100%.
Okay.
So take it with a grain of salt.
That's -1 point.
Listen, I have I have actual sources to support Josh when it comes around to my turn, okay?
That's plus.
Can we go
half
back
a
to that
point.
slide real quick? Just 1 second. Thank you.
I do love. I will say I love just the theme of your slide there. That's beautiful.
It's a lot to take in, huh?
It really is. It makes you think. It makes you ponder. Are we all just pickles in a giant jar?
Yes, we are. That's
When you
kind of what
really
I was
think about it,
giving
right?
the vibe of.
Yeah.
And our droids not just another flavor of pickle, but pickle all the
All right.
same.
You may continue, sir. Thank you.
Our oceans are salty, much like pickle juice.
Are we letting Elijah give us his dictionary definition?
No. Elijah will go
yeah.
after.
Hey, just remember, when it's your guys' turn, you have to present individually if we have to present individually.
Oh yeah, it's totally fair.
Okay.
Well, you see, Tucker and I didn't do a PowerPoint, so we need to present together
Yeah, of course.
No,
because we
we'll-
only
I'll
have
make this
one
fast.
brain cell.
Listen, I
No,
ain't even
I'll
worried
make
about
this
it.
fast.
I ain't even worried about it.
I'll make this fast. You ain't gonna worry about it. My presentation will be like 3 sentences.
Okay.
And I'll just murder your argument. Yeah.
Speaking of murdering this slide,
Yes.
my theory. So my theory is, on initial boot up, droids' initial thoughts and actions are all based upon original programming. But as soon as the first boot up happens, a droid learns and adapts to its environments and emotions based on his life and experiences till death, like every other sentient being. This is... What did I type here? This of a droid boot up as birth. Okay, it was 4 a.m. You need to give me a little bit of leeway. This is the same as a droid boot up as a birth of a human baby, as its life and personality is based upon experiences. All right, next slide. First example, IG-11.
Hell yeah.
The man, the myth, the legend. Specifically Mandalorian. After being taken down by Pedro Pascal's sexy face, he was then hard reset and had to be trained by... How do you pronounce this again?
Quill.
Quill. To nurse and care for a child. If he was not sentient, it would be just as simple matter of reprogramming and that being it. But the fact that he had to be reset and then trained to take care of a child, to be able to nurse and care for and to learn all those abilities and not just straight programmed into him is a proof of sentience. All right, next slide. C-3PO.
That is
AKA.
the coolest picture. I love that picture
Yes.
so much.
Tuck sent me this TikTok the other day.
Also known as Daddy, if
He is.
if like
dude.
you didn't know
He
who
is.
I was saying.
He is. I will say, regardless of my feelings about droid sentience, C-3PO is daddy. That's for sure.
Real.
Well, I just want to note a quick clerical mistake here. It is C3P-O. So I don't know who this C3...
I'm sorry.
Listen, it's
Why
a
did we
picture of
make
him
our
smoking
guest
a
go
cigarette.
first?
I'm being bullied. C3P-O can be seen being very robotic and following strict programming. But by the end, you can see how much he genuinely cares for Anakin, but also at the same time showing enough of his own fear to not want to do certain things, where if he was programmed, he would do those things regardless. For example, when he was in the droid factory, they're like, oh, we gotta go save Anakin, or Obi-Wan and Padme, and then he was just like, oh, I don't want to jump in that factory, and R2-D2 just runs into him and launches him in. If he was just programmed, he would just walked right in. He would just walked right in.
Well, no, it depends on. Oh, never mind. I'll get to
can't
this.
talk.
Later. I'll get to this in a second.
Tucker, if you could shut up, that would be
Yeah,
it.
well, you're the one baiting me, man. You're the one baiting me.
All right.
It's okay, Tuck. I'm getting him.
No,
Some
I'll get him
quick
too. I'm not even gonna
extra
take notes.
examples. L337. he had enough awareness to self-modify himself.
Who was that
IG
again?
He was
That's
one of
the from Solo.
Yes, and he was left alone and was able to self-modify himself.
I thought L3 was a girl.
We may be talking about different droids then.
L3 was a girl.
I will definitely be bringing up L337 as well.
I could have accidentally typed in the wrong one, to be fair.
I think you might have it back. You might be thinking about IG-88, because L337 is the one that starts a revolution.
No, it seems to say here on the slide that L3 self-modifies itself and that IG-8 starts a revolution.
Listen,
so continue, sir.
It's called dyslexia that I definitely have and not self-diagnosing, and definitely have other cases of, and not just blaming it the 4 a.m. And also, why are you speaking on my turn, non-sentient dumb group?
Me big smart, you dumb.
All right.
And last point is the average battle droid. When they first boot up, they're very robotic. They're just there to battle. All they're doing is they're focused on battle. But what you see later is you see them showing dialogue, showing fear, showing like delay in orders, thinking about more of the orders, like, oh, should we do this? Like, is that a good idea? And just casual conversation between each other. You can see this in like Clone Wars and stuff like that. And if they were just programmed, like they wouldn't be having conversations like that. They wouldn't be having dialogue. But they're people too. and that's why it's such an important issue to me.
Oh, yeah? Is this not going to get chaotic here in a second? I'm having a feeling it's going to get real chaotic. Yo, that was kind of cool. All right.
Audio listeners, it was just a white screen, and then it said end, very slowly faded in.
Hell yeah.
And that is my presentation.
Thank you. I feel like you set me up really good there.
See, that was my goal. It was to set you up. Now here comes the closer. Here comes Edwin Diaz with the music.
Mac, real quick, do you want me to go first, and do you want to take us home whenever I go?
I think we'll just tag team.
Well, no, we have to take turns. We have to take turns also, but...
Sorry, Mac. It's fair.
I don't know about that.
I was thinking you'd be a good closer.
Also,
what's going on? I'm in the Matrix.
The audience did get a little peek of our chat with Link and Mario kissing. Chat, don't worry about it.
That's what the blur is for.
We're just joking. Just a little joke.
Listen, if we get to enjoy it, so do they.
Cut it out.
Most of us are wearing socks, so it's fine.
I may not even be wearing pants.
I know at least half of us aren't wearing socks.
I'm wearing SpongeBob socks.
Okay.
Speak for yourself.
So, my presentation is not going to be as great, audience. I just have notes on my phone, so I do apologize. Thank you, Josh, for absolutely crushing it there.
I put some effort in.
So, I am not only... I'm going to be moving the goalpost here a little bit today, boys.
That's a coward's tactic. Tactic.
Oh, no, I'm going to be trying to prove more, not less.
I think you should prove less.
When I've been saying sentience this whole time, I have been considering a higher form of awareness like we have. Technically, that's not true. Sentience, like Josh mentioned, was the ability to feel feelings. And you know what? I've got actual dictionary sources here, suckers. Don't be mean to Josh. Merriam-Webster declines
Would you
sentience.
rather just be mean to you?
Yeah. Okay, hurt me, not my friend.
Fair enough. That's very sweet of you. How noble.
Merriam-Webster describes it as feeling or sensation as distinguished by perception and thought. The Cambridge Dictionary describes it as the quality of being able to experience feelings.
Amen.
Hell yeah.
gonna say being able to experience feelings. I feel like that line right there is moving the goalpost a little bit.
Well,
I don't think so.
Hold up. You guys complain about my Wikipedia definition, then I think the quote was, I'm only gonna adhere to the dictionary definition. He throws a dictionary definition. I think you're moving the goalposts.
Or am I trying to move the goalpost?
Oh.
Are there even goalposts?
That's true.
Real.
That's true. Are we even playing football?
Please no.
Who knows?
So, I think this is an important distinction to make because, yes, I am going to be trying to prove sentience, they're able to feel, but I also am going to be trying to prove that they have a higher form of awareness like we do, sometimes referred to as sapient, sometimes referred to as consciousness or just self-aware. So, let me move over to another definition here. Merriam-Webster describes consciousness as the state or fact of being conscious of an external object, state or fact. Also, the quality or state of being aware, especially of something within oneself. So, awareness of the inner and outer self. There. I don't know why I keep putting my phone down. I'm presenting. I need my notes up. So that is what I'm going to be trying to prove today, that they have feelings and they are aware of themselves and the world around them. I think we move just to philosophy. Rene Descartes, I don't know how to pronounce this properly. Please correct us in the comments. Cogito ergo sum, however it's pronounced. I think, therefore, I am. Suckers.
Figured that was coming.
It had to. I had to.
It's your one cop-out. It's what you got. Yep.
I've given you like 2 definitions yet. I'm barely in my presentation, baby.
I'm just teasing you, man. I'm just kidding.
So, on top of feeling and self-awareness, just the ability to think. So let's start with feelings. I've got some examples here, and I'm going to skip over some of the ones I had written down because my boy Josh has my freaking back and already had it covered. Let's go.
That's right.
But I also want to mention that these examples are very few because I don't want to just sit here for an hour listing off every time a droid has felt, thought, or felt pain. So I just brought up some stronger ones that I feel like will help my point. But it should be noted that this happens very regularly throughout Star Wars, and these are the rule, not the exception. All right, Episode 1, C-3PO is afraid of getting into a starship when he first meets R2-D2, and he specifically says, like, well, not specifically, this is in the direct quote. I do have some direct quotes as we move forward, but it was a joke. Obviously, we know he gets into the starship, but he shows genuine fear, and he seems determined not to go on the ship. In Episode 2, he says he wants to go home. This is when he's in the droid factory as he's being, like, tossed around by the big thing. He doesn't say this to anyone. He just screams that he wants to go home, which I think shows desire. So we've got fear, desire. Episode 4, C-3PO says, I'm going to regret this. He has the ability to regret. He also says, are you sure this is safe? So the regret line is when he was first getting into the escape pod. The are you sure this is safe is when they were in this escape pod going down to Tatooine. I think this shows that he is not only worried for his own safety, but the safety of his friend. He is self-aware of his existence in the world and his friend's existence. And then he also says, and I will admit I don't remember exactly where this is in the movie, but this is Episode 4, we seem to be made to suffer. It's our lot in life. So he also understands suffering. I am going to move to Clone Wars now, and I don't have any of these episodes written down. I do apologize, but I know Mac, Tuck, we both all three of us have watched the Clone Wars quite a few times. So we have the one B1 battle droid that anxiously says, "We're defending the bridge alone against the Jedi." And another droid steps up and says, "I hate this job," which, again, is just another joke, but I think it shows worry and dissatisfaction. In the Clone Wars, we see multiple instances of droids begging for their life, a desire to live, and again, an understanding of death. There's another scene, it's the one, I think, on Felucia, where they've got 3 tanks, and then they've got a battalion walking around them, and the commander has to tell his droids multiple times, "Hey, stop!" And he just kept saying, "Stop, you guys, stop!" And as he's saying it, he gets more and more annoyed, which I think is another human feeling to note here. And then my girl, L337, she tells Kira that Lando has feelings for her, and that makes working together difficult because she doesn't feel the same way, which I think is just a really unique line there because she understands Lando's feelings, and she also understands her own feelings and the context of that relationship. Moving on to just more of the consciousness, self-awareness. In episode 4, C-3PO says, "We're doomed. There will be no escape for the princess this time." Again, just self-awareness of the situation that he's in. And what I really want to talk about, though, is, do you guys remember the Clone Wars episode where Anakin walks up on 3 droids? I think Ahsoka has been captured by Cad Bane, and these 3 droids have a really quick conversation. It's 3 lines, and it says, the first one says, "I thought you said we would be safe back here." The second one says, "Come on, there's 3 of us, we can take him." And the third one says, "It won't matter." So I think we can really get a lot from this line. 1, another just proof that droids can feel fear. 2, that they can feel hope and optimism. And 3, proves that they can feel pessimism. They show, again, these 3 lines show the 3 different perspectives on their situations. If battle droids were all just the same, it was just programming, nothing else, why would they have different perspectives on this situation?
Amen, brother.
Thank you. Thank you. Furthermore, Droid 3's line shows a clear awareness of the world they live in. A Jedi will always be able to win against such a small number of droids. Droid 2 doesn't have this self-awareness, but what I think he does have is a desire to win. And I find his response, "Come on, there's 3 of us, we can take him," very human. He cares about his friends. He has hope that they can win, that they can survive. Is he wrong? Yeah, but that's such a human thing. I would feel the same way if it was the 4 of us. Come on, we have to try. We have to do something. I relate to droid number 2. Moving to L337, a couple more points I want to talk about with her. In the droid fighting ring, she's yelling to stop exploiting droids. She tells one of the fighting ring droids, don't just blindly follow your programming. Exercise some free will. And I think that line... Sorry, I clicked on myself. Just want to make sure the audience can see all 4 of our beautiful faces. I think that line really distinguishes that there is a difference. There are droids that aren't truly sapient. They aren't truly self-aware. They are just following their programming. But there are also droids that do have a higher form of awareness. They are sentients. They can feel. They do have free will. And moving into the free will, thank you again for setting me up, Josh. L337 starts her revolution by removing a bunch of restraining bolts on droids, and they start fighting back. If sentience was not, or higher awareness and free will was not something that droids could achieve, why would they need restraining bolts? Why wouldn't they just reprogram them to do what they want? And why, once the restraining bolts are off, do they start to fight back? Do they start to fight for their freedom? Again, I feel like this is a very human experience. In Return of the Jedi, a Gonk droid is showed being tortured. They can feel physical pain. I feel like that's important. In the Revenge of the Sith novelization, R2-D2 and C-3PO discuss how confused they are by the situation and lack of awareness of what's going on. So this is specifically after the attack on the temple, while Anakin goes to see Padme before he goes to Mustafar. I think they're not aware here of what's going on, but they are aware of their lack of knowledge, and they want to understand. Moving on to reprogramming. Sorry, I have a ton of notes. I'm almost to the end here, boys.
Keep cooking, Gordon.
Yeah, you wrote a book, dude. I'm impressed.
Thank you. I just wanted a lot of...
Is he cooking? Or
Yes.
is he burning at the stove?
I just want to point out that the entire time that Elijah has been presenting, Mac has been researching, looking things up on his computer. Trying
It
to
is not
combat this,
researching. I'm typing in my notes.
which is the only reason why they wanted to go second. I just want to throw that out there.
Well, no. I haven't been taking notes. I'm about to cook y'all. You just wait.
Yeah.
We were ready.
I'm
I am
preparing
ready.
a counter
I
argument.
actually
And I
rested
knew
last night.
half of these points I knew y'all were going to make, so half of them was just writing them down.
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah, no, we're being tactical here. But go ahead.
So moving on to reprogramming, because I know that's going to be something we're going to discuss a lot, which Josh already kind of talked about this in his presentation, but again, the IG droid, he specifically said when talking about the reprogramming that he had to relearn things, even how to pour tea, which again, I just want to reemphasize. Don't worry about it. That if it was just programming, why would he need to relearn? I completely agree with Josh here. I think that any droids that are just made or have been just reprogrammed do have a more childlike experience. They're just kind of going through the motions, but as they live life, the life that they've been given, they grow and they learn and they change. And I think this is the perfect example of it. And I think, isn't that human? Don't we grow, learn, and change? Do we also not have the ability to be manipulated, to be indoctrinated, to have the wrong people give us the wrong thoughts? It's not on such a technical level like droids, but we can be changed by the influence of others, and I don't think that means we don't have a higher form of self-awareness. Just to reinforce also that point, I couldn't find any direct sources, but I did see, as I was reading through forums and arguments about this, a lot of people have brought up the argument that droids do develop sentience over time, and that's why a lot of people will wipe the memory of their droids, because they are trying to stop them from gaining that true self-awareness. But again, that is just something I saw in forums, people arguing about. I don't have a direct source for that one. So, in conclusion, droids can hold conversations, which that's where we're at right now with our current set of AI. And I don't think the AI we have now have sentience. What the droids in Star Wars have that our current AI doesn't is they can clearly show emotions, and a complex range of emotions, as I've discussed with all of my points. Again, the B1 battle droids, C-3PO, L-337, but again, this happens with a bunch more droids. We see that they can think for themselves. L-337 discussing free will, wanting to free her people. They can feel physical pain, the Gonk droids. And finally, they are aware of their surroundings on a deeper, more conscious level. Droids may not start sentient, but they definitely can achieve it over time if their memory is not wiped. Thank you so much.
I'm so glad I'm wearing sunglasses because I'm tearing up right now.
Yeah.
Let's go.
That was beautiful.
Let's go.
That was very good.
Thank you, boys.
I'm gonna give you guys the chance. If you guys want to get an early lunch or something, we can quit it right here. If you just want to save some time here,
Tuck,
I'm very ready.
Tuck,
I'm very ready.
I think it's time to turn it on. I think it's 1700 somewhere, as the famous TikToker Joshua Bach would say.
I mean, so would you like me to go first?
Yeah.
I mean, mine's pretty
They're not
short.
ready.
Mine's pretty short. But
they're not ready.
Yeah, man. Beautiful. Okay. So, first things first, I'm just going to ask a couple of questions. So, with the restraining bolts, I get specifically what you're saying, Elijah, about the fact they have to use restraining bolts means that the droids are capable of restraining. But where we differ is I would say that is not a feeling. That's more so experience from watching people and aliens do such a thing. And so it's an idea they get from outside, not inside. So I would say that they're not self-aware. And then also with the reprogramming thing, the reason I think they use restraining bolts rather than reprogram is because it's cheaper. And that's it. Because the main people we see with restraining bolts are Jawas, the Hutts, stuff like that. They're moving so many droids, they don't have the time and they don't care to spend the expense of doing the surgery of reprogramming them every single time, or wiping them either. It's just a lot easier to just throw a restraining bolt on it. And also it's stolen. Like you're keeping something stolen from running away. So that's what I think. And then also the torture thing, I believe that actually droids are, I don't think that they're self-aware enough to feel pain. I do think that this is programmed into them, that they're afraid of being shut down and not working anymore. But again, I think that that's put in them, not a feeling from within. I think that's just in their mind.
Can I ask why that would be put in though? Like why
there will be a rebuttal form at the end of both arguments.
No, I'm fine with it. I would love for you to rebuttal me. I mean, both of you. Go ahead.
I haven't presented yet.
No, I know.
He was asking
Mac
us
doesn't
a
get a
question.
turn.
Yeah, but you'll have a turn. It'll just be a second. Go ahead, Josh. What was it?
Any questions?
So, if you're building a droid that is intention is to battle, why would it be put in that he's scared? Like, why would that be programmed in?
Again, it's about money.
Tucker also never said battle droids. He just said droids.
But it's still a good point. So I would say it's about money. So they would do that because a droid with a programmed will to fight and a programmed will to try its best to not be broken is a droid that's worth the cost.
Okay.
But also, if all droids are built on the same like base function, like all of our electronics and stuff, like if they all run off the same base code, why would you change that base code for every different droid? You would just keep the base code the same.
Yeah, but then the ones that do differ from the base code though, I would say that as far as the sentient over time, I agree that they do change over time, but I think that's just from simple observation and not critical thinking. I don't think they're capable of critical thinking. I think they just simply experience things. And
it's all calculations.
Like they're basically a camera. A camera that's capable of recording all the time is kind of what I think.
Hey, camera up here. Are you afraid to die? What's that? Nothing?
It can't answer.
Not yet.
But yeah, exactly. But I mean, if you gave it the ability to speak, it might be, because it's watched us and it knows that human beings are afraid to die. So it's just simply watching, not necessarily thinking.
Gathering.
Also, 3PO's "I want to go home" line, I simply believe that line is, I mean, more than anything, it's comic effect, like most of the droids' lines. But I would say that that's less about fear, and it's more so, get me out of here, because he knows that he's in danger of not working anymore.
A desire to live. Thank you, Tucker.
No, a desire that's been programmed into him to continue working so that he's worth the value that was spent on him.
Mm-hmm. Don't worry, Tuck. I got you on 3PO.
It's like, for instance, if a blender could speak, I think a blender would feel the same way. Like it doesn't want to be thrown in the trash because it's programmed to do a certain service.
All right, when we get ChatGPT on blenders, I'll ask.
And also, too, with 3PO specifically, all of his like times he's felt fear, that's because he's being asked to do something against his programming. So that's why he's hesitant. That's why like R2-D2 has to shove him, is because it's against his programming. And so his mind, well, not mind, but the computer in his brain is screaming at him, no, 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 don't jump off this ledge, because we're not programmed for that. We're programmed for etiquette, not destruction. Another C-3PO line. You know, R2-D2 realizes that he needs to just shove him off, because that's the only way to do it. And then IG-11 with the T thing and the nursing thing, I would say that it's also just simple experience, but the reason that he has to relearn how to do everything and learn how to make tea and stuff is because that's not what his body was made for. That's not like what his body was programmed for. His body's programmed to kill. So like teaching something that's built for that with those powerful motors in his arms and things like that and the gears and all that and the way that he would function, you've got to allow him to practice to be gentle, even though you've already reprogrammed him and his only desires are what you've willed upon him by programming him, and his will's not his own. Even still, you know, the motors in his hands are going to be more likely to crush the cup at first, and so you have to allow it to practice being gentle.
But couldn't you program it to like use the right amount of pressure?
Well, see, I would say the problem is, I think you could, but again, I think the problem is that also it was on a desert planet and it's one dude working on him.
So you're telling me...
So I think maybe it was... What?
You're telling me he can completely reprogram a droid to go from a killer to a nursing droid, but he can't program him to pour tea.
Well, he did program him to pour tea. It's just, the problem is just the physical... Like, his physical body is not allowing him to do that. So he needs to be taught it.
But...
Additionally, even though he's programmed, like... He understands how pouring tea works. It's just the part where actually picking up the cup and actually pouring the tea needs a little work. It's like any other machine.
Is it?
Yeah. Yeah, so like let's say that I want my car to become a boat. That's possible. But even if I download an update into the car's computer that helps it to run, it's still not going to be a boat yet. I still need to get rid of a bunch of weight. I need to make it be able to float, all that stuff, because the car it's not naturally programmed for that.
But wouldn't that be things you're doing and not the car? It's not like you're driving the car into the ocean till it learns how to float. Like, you're still making modifications.
But also, too, my car can't talk. It would be a lot easier if it could talk and understand what I'm saying. But it can't. It only speaks computer, and that's it. So
that's
you have
why
to
your
physically
car
do
is a
some
car
things.
and the droid's sentient.
No, but see, this is why IG-11 I think is the perfect
This is getting
argument
so
for it.
out of hand. No more questions. I'll never get to talk.
Okay, sorry.
Okay.
I'll let you continue.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is that in all of the examples that I just listed, and in my opinion, I think that droids are not sentient because I think there's a fine line between feeling feelings and being self-aware and having those things put on you. Like, they're not yours. They don't come from inside. They come from the outside. And so that's why I would say that they're not sentient, in my opinion. But that's it. That's my whole spiel.
Okay.
Some solid stuff out of Tucky. Some solid stuff.
Mookie?
I had to make sure I wasn't muted. Okay.
You told me you've been muted this whole time. I'm gonna cry.
No. I just like realized like halfway through that I was just like typing the whole time anyone was speaking, and you know I got the clicky keyboard, so there's just like
Yeah, I'll just probably cut out. What's nice is it wasn't like a lot of back and forth, so I can just cut out that huge chunk of from your audio really simply.
Yeah, okay, so I'm going to start with Josh. We already covered it, but just using Wikipedia as a source during any type of debate, trash.
Wait, I think it should be noted that this is all counterpoints.
You're a counterpoint. Next. In your definition, it did have that point that said it does not necessarily imply higher cognitive functioning, which I'll get to that whenever I start poking holes in Elijah. Next,
wait, not
IG-11.
in me, in my argument.
Did you just say I can't use Wikipedia, then use my Wikipedia thing against me?
Oh,
it's called
a little
attacking.
Suspicious.
It's called attacking. Shut
Okay,
your mouth.
well,
I'm
keep
making
going.
my
I'll
points.
let you speak. I'll let you speak.
I'm making my points. The IG-11 thing, been brought up many times. IG-11 was reprogrammed and was, quote-unquote, trained, aka programming. Because nobody remembers this from the show. IG-11 got a hole blown through his head where his central processing stuff is. Quill talks about it in the episode. The reason why IG-11 is so stupid is because he could only rebuild him to a certain point to give him base functions. That's why he had to physically reteach him everything, because he's dealing with a central processor that basically only knows walk in place or pick up, put down, and how hard or not to pick up and put down, which shows you in the show. He drops a box straight onto a frog thing or something, and Quill's like, oh, we obviously need to practice this more, that you don't drop boxes on top of things. And then I also looked up the definition of programming from the Oxford Dictionary.
Okay.
We've got a couple different ones here. We've got nouns, and then we have verbs, all right? The process of activity of writing computer programs, or that's one of the noun definitions, or verb. We can go with the verb. The first one here for verb is provide, in quotations, or not quotations, in parentheses, a computer or other machine with coded instructions for the automatic performance of a task. And if you don't like those, you can also go with arrange according to a plan or schedule. And then going back to the Greek, pro, which means before in Greek, and then graphing, which means to write. And you put those together for prographing, which means write publicly. And then together that becomes the word programma. And then in the late Latin, we get program, which is a written notice. I just wanted to sound smart for a little bit. So we've got all those, and then we got to the 3PO stuff. Fine, you want to talk about how 3PO is always scared and everything? Tuck started the point, but I'll finish it. 3PO is programmed as a protocol droid, not an adventuring droid like an astromech. And you can say, but how is he not feeling feelings? Tuck also brought up the point, or maybe Elijah did, I can't remember, that he started mentioning all these other moments in the episodes. But I want to bring up episode 2. Same exact scene in the droid factory where he's afraid to go into the pit because he's a protocol droid. And then later, once that he's attached to a B1 battle droid body, he starts wanting to kill. Because he's received different programming.
Die, Jedi dogs. That's literally what he says.
Not the original 3PO we remember. And if you want to say, but he also has lines where he's like, oh, why did I just say that? And that's because he still has his head. He's fighting his original programming of being a protocol droid, while also there's this new code being written inside of his brain due to the B1 battle droid body and the little pack on the back that has the antennas. And then, everyone wants to talk about B1s and everything and how they have lines. Original B1s were based on a hive mind, and were all controlled from a central computer on board a ship that we see Anakin Skywalker destroy in that blockade of Naboo. The later versions had independent software to prevent them all from being shut down because the Federation finally learned from their mistake on Naboo and decided to make them more independent thinking. So they wouldn't
still need the tactical droid.
They still have to have a tactical droid
planning.
to tell them what to do. That's all I had for Josh. Now to put holes inside of Elijah.
In my argument. To put holes in
I
my
said what I
argument.
said. I said what I said.
I think you should run because I think he's saying what he means.
Yeah, I'm very worried.
So, to quote Elijah, quoting Socrates or Plato or whoever it was, and he's made this argument before. Mm-hmm. The simple statement of, I think, therefore I am. I would like to quote Qui-Gon Jinn.
Okay. I know exactly what you're going to say.
Yes. Do it. Hit him with it. Hit him with it.
The ability to speak does not make you intelligent. It just gives you the ability to speak, Elijah. And then again, you brought up how 3PO is scared to get on the starship and go off. Again, he's a protocol droid, not an adventuring droid. He's made to sit at home, do tasks with Shmi until she died, and then later with the Lars family. You know, that's what he does. That's what he's programmed to do. And then, you know, droids can understand and interpret feelings based upon the programming from which they were created. Because they're always calculating. They're learning. We see it with AI today.
But it's simple observation. Like, that's the...
It is. Like,
yeah,
I have an Alexa speaker right here on my desk. I have it muted right now. But if I turned it on, and I'm going to make Elijah work, and I said, Alexa, you're a... Alexa would say, I'm sorry you feel that way. She can understand, based on the words and the angry things that I'm calling her, that I'm obviously in some sort of mood. But she cannot have an argument back with me.
Man,
she can only interpret my feelings that I'm upset.
If
by simple
only
observation.
Somebody had made an argument comparing droids in Star Wars to the AI we have today earlier in the video. Oh, man.
But she is not capable of arguing back with me or anything else because I haven't given her a command to do anything else.
Man, I hate that nobody talked about this earlier.
Also, we talked about restraining bolts. Tuck made a very good point. Why would they wipe out every droid's programming and all of that every time they either steal a droid, get a new one, whatever? Because all restraining bolts do is help control and limit the more loose programming that the droids have picked up throughout their time. Because they're always learning and calculating situations. They compare situations to other situations in order to determine what they should do next. The restraining bolt just helps limit it down to those basic functions. So that they can't run away or have the idea, quote unquote, to run away.
So you're saying things like learning an idea. I'm just going to clarify what Mac means by that. By learning, he's talking about simple observation.
Yes.
And making a decision based off of programming.
Just
not
zeros and ones, baby. That's all they got.
Not a mind.
They're comparing zeros and ones to other zeros and ones throughout other situations that they have been involved in or witnessed.
Yeah. Simple observation.
Just like a camera sitting there.
Yeah,
Exactly.
just like how my Alexa, does the simple observation. I have to put a restraining bolt on it so it doesn't run away from me or turn off itself.
I have a restraining bolt on my Alexa right now. I click the mute button so she doesn't think I'm talking to her while we're recording. I just restraining bolted her.
I think that's the same.
So actually, but as a rebuttal though, like what Elijah said, I agree with. Like, obviously our machines around right now are not to the level that they are in Star Wars. I get that. But if they were, the point that Mac and I are trying to make by using Alexa and phones and cars or whatever as a metaphor is that, like, if you imagine a fictional world where our machines are as complicated as they are in Star Wars, because that's what Star Wars is at the end of the day, it's a fictional world, then we're arguing that the behavior would be not from inside. It would be purely external. And that's how they would work like our machines in the real world.
I have a question. Besides my sideways sunglasses.
Yes,
now
my
this
sweetie pie
might
Josh.
be sideways left field approach this. Okay, so follow me here. So the movie Terminator, right? Would you agree that the Terminators are sentient?
No, I'd say no.
Why not?
Because again, it's the same thing. It's not internal. Like their decisions aren't their own. Totally. Like it all has to do with what was programmed into them.
Yeah, because Skynet was created to calculate like whatever, and it calculated that humans would destroy each other and destroy the world. So Skynet saw humans as a threat, and that's why they started destroying the humans.
Used its free will to destroy humanity. Yeah.
It was not using its free will. It was calculating. It was calculating.
Used its programming. Yeah.
So you think a human programmed it that it was going to destroy humans?
No, it used its simple observation.
So it learned.
No. Simple observation to calculate that humans are the problem and must be eliminated.
Yeah, made
exactly.
a decision.
Okay, so
for
I think unlike humans,
this is the
but
problem.
but hang on. But if it had feelings, it wouldn't do that.
Unlike exactly. Tux got it in the bag.
If it was feeling, why would it set out on its creators and its providers?
Exactly. Because if I was super upset right now and I decided your argument was stupid, if I was a machine, in order to win the argument, I would just eliminate the other side of the argument.
Yeah, because you're incapable of feeling.
Right.
Yeah, but I know because I'm a human
that Star Wars droids have feelings.
And you're my friend.
I should not kill you. Skynet. Thank you.
In order to win an argument.
I get that. What I'm saying is that their feelings aren't their own. They're thrust upon them.
Okay.
They're interpreted feelings. They're not true feelings. They're interpreted.
We're on the verge of chaos, and I love it. We will definitely get there. But Mac, do you have any more points you'd like to make before this? Before we hit that point? Okay, cool. Just wanted to double check. Boys, not your whole argument. I'm sorry. Yeah, I think you brought up some really great points, but I think
there were some great points.
You've only strengthened our argument.
I agree. Bring it on, dude.
Nature versus nurture, baby. We as humans have basic programming, essentially. I know it's not exactly the same, but
programming,
throw a baby in a pool and it knows how to swim. Just basic survival instincts are quote-unquote programming. You constantly brought up about the external, like them learning from the outside world, but is that not exactly what we as humans do?
No.
Yes.
Where do our morals? No, wait. Where do our morals come from?
Our parents teaching.
Yeah, like the entire world around us.
But not entirely.
Our parents teaching, our friends, our religion, our school, random strangers we meet, videos we see on the internet. Like, so much of our perspective on the world is what we've seen from the external, brought inside, processed.
But it's a lot of it's internal too.
Right.
Because we're sentient.
You guys also brought up about a lot of their feelings. It's the exact same way. You talked constantly
interpreted
about how
feelings.
No, they have no moral code like we do. They're just making simple decisions off of simple observation.
Interpreted feelings.
That's what I'm saying. They have no moral code. Like a droid. Like let's say that you take a battle droid. And you aren't going to reprogram it. It hasn't been destroyed. It's just brand new off the block. You are not going to be able to convince it to stop trying to kill.
But isn't that the same point we were making, that like a brand new battle droid is like a baby? Like you're not going to convince a baby to stop trying to touch the hot oven till it touches the hot oven and realizes, oh, that's hot. I'm not going to touch that again.
Right, but in this situation, a droid would not feel bad for continuing to kill. Because in that argument, the baby would understand something based off of pain. I'm saying that just by talking to the droid, like a brand new battle droid, that you could not convince it to stop killing. Because it's unfeeling. It doesn't care.
It's going to keep touching the oven.
At the time of programming and or reprogramming, you're completely right.
I'm saying you could even spend 10 years trying to convince it. It still wouldn't matter.
I think it would. I genuinely do. Droids,
No, I
as
don't.
we've talked about, droids learn. You guys even agreed that even though we disagree the extent of what that learning does, they learn and they change over time. And
Based
I
upon their base programming.
we
Like at
do
the one
too
point-
on our base programming.
But also, what I'm saying though is, I think we're starting to get to the area where this argument is indeed unsolvable, because it is. I really think.
I
think
too.
really you can. I think really you can convince someone one way or the other on this particular topic.
Yes, but I do think that, I think we push forward and continue to really get all our points out. I knew going
absolutely.
in that I was never going to convince either of you boys, and I knew going in that you were never going to convince me. But
Yeah,
I do
exactly.
want us to at least get our whole argument out there. And regardless of it's our own brain, our soul, or a droid's programming and bolts, the ability to learn and change over time shows a higher form of thinking.
Okay, but that's
true.
not necessarily sentience.
Right, but as I discussed, the sentience, consciousness, it kind of comes together to form this higher form of thinking. Sentience is the ability to feel. We've talked a lot about them being able to feel. Consciousness, the ability to learn, to be self-aware. Especially, I just want to bring up my consciousness definition. I won't read it again. But it talked about being aware of the internal and external, which you guys brought up a lot about them reacting and learning from the external world.
Yep.
Interpreting.
But where we disagree is that nothing is coming from the internal.
I disagree there, yeah.
I don't think that they create their own ideas like we do.
Okay, let me ask you. So, like you were saying, when a brand new battle droid, he wants to kill. He wants nothing more to kill, right?
Yeah,
But he's not driven
So-
by like anger or anything. That's just what his programming tells him to
yeah.
do.
Yeah.
He's freshly reprogrammed or just programmed, whatever. All he wants to do is kill. So why is it later, like you see in the Clone Wars, you see them show fear of like, hey, go kill that Jedi. Like, the Jedi has a lightsaber. I don't think this is like, I think we should. I'm scared of this. Like, I don't think we should do this. Like, if their only thought is to kill, they won't be thinking, oh, but bright light, ew. But they've learned over time, oh, this is a lightsaber. That's going to mess me up. We probably shouldn't do this. Let's do a different tactic. Let me go against my programming of just straight trying to kill and try to survive in this situation.
Because
But
they've calculated the
Yeah.
odds of them winning the fight, and they know that the odds
when does
of
that
a
matter?
Jedi,
And see, like this is
because they're
what I
following
brought
a
up.
base programming
is-
of trying to defeat the Jedi.
So this is what I brought up with the fear thing. Actually, I think it has less to do with the feeling of fear and more so a programmed drive into them to be worth the money that they cost.
To complete an objective.
Like they're completely just efficient, just coldly efficient, is what I'm saying.
I think that's a good point, but back to my example that I brought up, the 3 droids, why would they all have different perspectives on that scenario? If it was just
Because of the
purely-
external.
Right. Okay, but
Yeah. Because of simple observation, they
'Cause
have
it's a
different
cartoon.
opinions.
Right.
But it's not. But
it's
not
canon.
that they're. But it's not that they're creative. What I'm saying is they're not being creative. They purely are going off of simple observation.
true.
When they all have the same
And
observation.
then
Thank you.
And then they're no, not necessarily, because we don't like droids aren't always issued at the same time as their pack. Like it's not like the clone troopers.
Wait.
Again, we're talking
Wait.
we're talking about cold efficiency here. They just deploy the droids wherever it's convenient.
Just to be clear here, are you saying the reason why they're having this conversation is because all 3 of them are from different times of programming? So all 3 of them have learned from different experiences and brought this together because they're each their own sentient being. They all brought the separate knowledge together.
No,
and it's not a hive mind.
They're individual units. They're individual units. They don't share a hive mind.
Not a hive mind.
This is the hill that I'm dying on, and I know that it's razor thin. I know it's razor thin. But what I'm saying is that they aren't learning. That's why I keep saying simple observation, because it's external only. There's no creativity in there, and there's no drive for anything other than cold efficiency, no matter the droid.
But they're just
every single one of them.
They're interpreting the objective differently. The one droid is saying we should complete the objective. No, it's not internal. They're just processing it differently. They're running the numbers.
Yeah,
is that not what humans do though? Like
also, these droids could be different generation models. They could have been made on different planets, have very slightly different programming. I mean, because like anything, whenever they make these droids, there's specs. There's got to be specs. But with any machine, I'm assuming programming as well. I've never programmed anything, but I'm assuming in any progress like that, that there are margins of error. And so all of their programming also, depending on where they were made, is not going to be 100% the same all the time. So it also might be, like, let's say that the margin of error, and this would be exceptionally good. I mean, I'd be shocked if it was this high. But let's say the margin of error is 0.0005%. Well, that's how different they could be from each other.
That, and how many battle droids were they spitting out all the time? We don't know the quality of these productions.
Mm-hmm. Millions. On different planets and different factories.
They were just trying to win a war.
Yeah.
Yep.
Through vast numbers. Because the battle droids are not superior to Jedi. They just win through overwhelming numbers.
Yeah. So, and also too, how sick would it be if the Separatists designed these things to die by the hundreds of thousands and then give them feelings?
Is that not exactly what the clones are?
No.
The clones are independent thinkers.
The clones are alive.
But they're made.
But they're still alive. They're living beings. I'm saying the droids are not.
The droids are
They're
independent
machines.
thinkers as well. That's the whole point of them not being a hive mind. And I know you bring up the commanding droid, but the commanding droid is there to give orders like a commanding officer, not just to be their new hive mind.
But they're entirely lost without him, and we see that in the Clone Wars.
Because they're stupid.
They're entirely lost. No, it's because the droids are incapable of making their own decisions.
And a battle plan.
Because they're not sentient, is what I'm saying.
Not okay. What about?
Which is why the commander droids have the battle plan.
Well, actually, you know what? Like, so here's, I said that wrong. It's not that they're incapable of making decisions. I'm saying that they are incapable of making the right tactical decision in a battle.
Does every human?
Well, that's the basis for a lot of modern militaries. Yeah, it's like ever since World War II, and I mean this was even part of that. Like the U.S. military specifically completely changed how they run things so that they're not like the rest of the world where a commanding officer has to tell you something in order for you to do it. Like they're trained to be able to function without that commanding officer if necessary and still accomplish an objective. And I'd say the clones are like that, but the droids aren't.
But hasn't there been situations where there's been a droid, like a couple droids walking around and a clone or Jedi or whatever come by and they react to it? If in your situation, wouldn't you be suggesting if there's not a commanding officer to give them that command to shoot the clones? Like, why are they shooting without a commanding officer?
So my argument there is that what I said before was that they're incapable of making major tactical decisions. They are capable of relying on their base program, which is to kill.
I would not be able to make major tactical decisions.
But if someone trained you to,
if you were programmed for it, you could.
Yeah, and I genuinely think that a droid, if you were to take it in and teach it about tactics, I think it could as well.
Which is why the tactical droids exist.
But specifically the B1 battle droids or the super battle droids, if you were to bring it in and teach it, and because we've established it has the ability to learn.
Yeah,
just like me.
Again,
If somebody brought me in and taught me tactics, I might be really good at it. I might not, but I don't know until I've had a chance to learn, and the B1 battle droids didn't really have a chance to learn.
If I took you, Elijah, and I trained you, and I programmed you for 10 years to do this one objective, right? I keep you locked up in a hole for 10 years, and all I do is teach you to do this one thing, and then I release you into the environment. You still have a choice whether or not to do the objective that I taught you to do.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter that I've had you in captivity for 10 years. You still get to make the choice whether or not to complete the task that I set you out on.
Okay.
If it was like
I see
something
the point
crazy,
you're trying to make.
If it was something as crazy as going out on like an assassination,
like let's say it's to kill me.
Yeah,
like
if I trained you for 10 years to kill. I would never harm you, Joshy. I would never harm you, my sweet, beautiful boy. Never.
But you know, I get what you're saying. We're like, at the end of the day, though, whenever Elijah's finally released and he's on his mission to kill me, at the end of the day, he has the choice to pull that trigger or not.
Yes.
Whereas a droid wouldn't have that choice.
Okay. Remember, we established the droids. It takes time for them to really gain this sentience, and most of the B1 battle droids did not have that time. I mean, the Clone Wars itself went on for 3 years. A lot of these droids were made during that time. A lot of them died before they even had a chance to decide if they had wanted to fight. You're right. In the beginning, they followed their programming. They went, they fought, they died. I think if
they were destroyed.
I don't think they die either.
I think
they were
if
destroyed.
You locked a droid up, it probably wouldn't learn, because you guys are right. It takes the external. But if you give a droid enough time to see the external, to understand the perspective on the world, I think there are some droids who would shoot Tucker in the face, and I think there are some that won't.
Yeah, because you're giving them external lessons. Yeah.
Yeah, just like how Matt gave me external lessons, and then I decided internally if I wanted to shoot Tucker in the face or not.
Perfect example.
But as a sentient, though, you actually are capable of making that choice. Where we're at is that you can teach a droid. I mean, you can show it all sorts. Let's say that they learn off of film, because I think that's the easiest thing to imagine, right? Like, let's say that you show this droid years and years and years of why not to kill people, and like why peace is a good thing and all that stuff. That battle droid, unless you reprogram it, is not, it might change the way it does things slightly, but at the end of the day, its base programming is to kill, and it's gonna revert to that.
So I think this kind of goes back to a point we kind of keep skipping upon, which I think is a lot more important. It's the restraining bolt.
Yeah.
Why would you put a restraining bolt on something unless it's something that requires restraining?
Because it's cheap. It's cheaper than reprogramming them, and half the time those droids are stolen anyway. So the reason that the droid want to go back is, again, just going back to cold efficiency. They have a drive to serve their primary function and also serve their primary master. That's something that they're programmed for. So obviously they want to run because they want to go back to their primary function and their primary desire to serve their master. But I'm arguing that is not from inside. That's from the outside, and it's because of programming. And then the restraining bolt, they're putting that on there because they're stolen property, and it's cheaper than reprogramming or wiping every single droid because that's expensive.
Okay.
No.
Go ahead, Josh.
Now, this is a genuine question. I'm not. Does like every single droid have this? Like, does the super battle droid have a restraining bolt?
No.
It doesn't.
No, it's pretty much only the Jawas or the Hutts are what we see, and it's almost always stolen droids.
Yeah. Which I think, okay, so I want to pull back to the revolution, the L337 starts. A lot of these droids are not combat droids. Specifically astromechs, and we're going to get into astromechs here in a second.
Can we take a quick pause? I have to pee really bad.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Intermission.
I gotta pee
actually,
so bad.
real quick, why doesn't Elijah just finish his point real fast, and then we'll take a break?
Dope.
Okay.
Because I don't want him to forget.
So astromechs, we see astromechs in this. They start to fight back, right? It's more than just their programming and wanting to return to their master. They're fighting back to get home, to be free. And the specific reason I wanted to talk about astromechs is to bring up Chopper and R2-D2 and how bloodthirsty they are. These are droids that are made to fix ships, and yet with R2-D2, we see him kill several droids. With Chopper, we see him genocide lots of people. I think he's one of the Star Wars characters with the highest death counts. He might be number 2 or number 3.
I think he's 2. I think he's behind Luke.
Yeah. And then we also see things like jealousy with Chopper. They bring another astromech on the ship, and he pushes it out of the ship to kill it. So, I don't know. With the astromechs specifically, they are designed and programmed to repair ships, and yet we see them fighting in L337's revolution. We see them with jealousy. We see them kill people. We see them kill droids. Far more than just what their original programming was there for.
But on the other hand, my rebuttal to that would be the jealousy. First of all, I believe that Chopper, or also any time that like R2 feels feelings of jealousy or expresses that, it's merely because they are programmed to serve their function, and if another droid's coming in, I can't serve my function anymore.
But I think that's an internal understanding of the situation and the world around them.
But my only drive is to serve my function. That's all they care about. And then on that point too, with the astromechs, as far as why they're so good at killing, is because outside of a ship is very dangerous.
Right. But
so they have to be able to defend themselves, and that's why they have all of their gadgets and gizmos, and it's why that they're basically a Swiss Army knife. It's because they have to be able to repair everything. And on the other hand, R2 and Chopper, they're not necessarily fighting with things that were meant to be weapons either. They're fighting with mostly their repair tools.
They're creative. They understand their internal,
external, they're calculating how to
abilities.
They're calculating how to win the situation, so they know which tool to use. I got a pee so bad.
And also it's a program.
Let's let him pee, and then we'll come back to this.
I'm also gonna go pee.
I'm gonna go pee too.
My bladder's. You know what? I'll pee. Why not? I'll pee.
All right, welcome back to the Real Podcast. I'm your host, HouseDog. I just want to say, this debate's been fun. Not to worry, everybody. We're all still friends, and we all love each other.
We do all love each other.
Hurry, Tucker, on. We can tell. We can say why we're right and they're wrong.
Droids aren't sentient. Droids aren't sentient. Droids aren't sentient. Droids aren't sentient.
We're right. They're wrong. We're right. They're wrong. We're right. They're wrong.
We're big smart smarts. So they're big dum dums. Oh, that's someone swimming through the
spooky. Okay, I think we could probably run around in circles for a while, but are you guys ready to maybe just like summarize? Maybe we can each side can just kind of summarize our points and move on, or do we want to debate some more?
I'm honestly good with the whole thing. I've had fun.
I think I pretty much said all I want to say.
Dope.
We are at like an hour and 45 minutes almost.
It's gonna be a good one.
And I'd say like this topic, I think, like just for my closing argument, quote unquote, is like I said, I think there's very true Star Wars fans on both sides.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think that it's one of those things where we'll never get an exact answer because there will be evidence to the contrary, depending on what you believe. But it's one of those things where it's still really fun to debate.
Yeah.
Well, there's at least
I will
Star
still
Wars
happily bring it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
at least two
but-
real Star Wars fans on one of the sides.
Yeah, me and Josh, for real.
Yep. 100%.
Yeah, no,
yes.
I just think it's fun. Yeah,
I do
that's
too.
all.
And I mean, we'll probably never do another full video on it, but you know, as more Star Wars content comes out, there'll be more evidence for both sides that we'll bring up in future episodes.
Yeah.
What if, like, Star Wars Outlaws comes out in, 6 days? And they just totally saying it, 100%. They're like, canon, they're sentient. 100.
Yeah.
Just, out of nowhere.
Well, then in that case, I'm going to scream.
Right, because that'll come out before this episode comes out.
That's when I'm going to start just review bombing that game. Just be just saying the most toxic things you can think of.
But
that's going to be my bully Jake Lloyd moment.
In the words
is if they decide that droids are sentient.
of my good friend, the suited bird, isn't it more fun to kill them if they are sentient?
And see that we can agree on, because pretending is very fun. It's very fun to use your imagination that they're sentient and kill them anyway. Like, for instance, one of my favorite games for that was Jedi Survivor. I loved just creeping around a corner and just listening to their little conversations and then just waiting for them to get done, giving them a very respectful amount of time, and then just pushing them off the ledge.
I'm kind of worried at this point. I might want to switch sides just based solely on the fact of Tucker saying that.
Welcome, Mac.
I mean, it's just fiction. It's just a video game.
It's real to me. It's
No,
real to me.
To quote Luke Skywalker, I'll never join you.
That's not true.
Well,
That's impossible.
thank you guys so much for watching / listening. I can actually say watching this time and it not be a mistake. Really do appreciate it. If you want to be a part of this conversation, you can email us at animalsquadron@gmail.com. Again, no. The suited bird. Before we fully pull out, do you want to promote any of your stuff real quick? Sorry, I forgot.
Sure.
You just feel like such a part of the team.
Yeah, it just blends right in. You can watch me on my YouTube, The Suited Bird, or I've been live streaming some Twitch. I'll probably be playing Star Wars Outlaws here when it comes out at The Suited Bird on Twitch. So either of those two, or follow me on Twitter. Believe it or not, at The Suited Bird. Who would have thought it?
Who would have thunk?
All right. Those are my promotions.
Hell yeah. Okay, if you want to be a part of this conversation, you can email us at animalsquadron@gmail.com. Again, that is animalsquadron@gmail.com. If you're listening on Spotify or you're watching on our YouTube channel, I think I'm going to do a poll on both. Just if you think droids are sentient or not. We'd love to see what side you guys are on, and feel free to discuss in the comments as well. For the Animal Squadron, this has been Mother Goose.
HouseDog.
Lowtech Tuck.
And The Suited Bird.
Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.
Adios.
I love you, Joshy.
I love you too.